Welcome to the Busy Being Born podcast with your hosts Kamande and Kigondu.
Hey.
What's your story, man?
It's never going to stop. I'll stop it at episode 99.
That's what's up.
How are you?
Tunaro.
Are we rolling? Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm good, man. Niko fiti bana.
Ama you see once I say hey,
najua tumeanza.
The clap is on. I love hey. We on.
Yeah, man. Niko fresh?
Niko fresh.
Tumbo imetulia. We got you, bro. Tuko na charcoal pellets bana.
Hey man, and kuzitry. It was not that serious, but and kuzitry.
All good. We care, man. We care.
Thanks, man. But Stakrai Wolf then.
Yes, please don't, because clearly.
Yeah.
All good.
Good to see you. I'm great and very grateful.
That's what's up. Same here.
Maze. It's weird because your story at tumbo, let me tell you. Is there a meal like you'd eat one for the rest of your life if that was you told chagua tu meal moja?
Yo.
What would that be?
I don't know, njahe. Story for another day.
Okay, interesting. Because for me, something close really. It's I'd cooler rice and beans for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like maga I tell my wife on my deathbed, bring me rice and beans.
Yeah.
Hey,
bro.
But now the problem is sometimes it comes with its own challenges.
Yeah.
Hapa kule.
Clearly, man. And you're tunaanza episode na checking in on you.
But I'm like I don't care.
Oh, good.
Like whatever repercussions, they're totally worth it.
All good, man. All good. Easy. Wacha to jump in.
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by Prevail Presents. Prevail Presents. Prevail Presents is an arts and theatre company, and I've watched a lot of their shows from when they began, and they've rebranded quite a bit. At some point, they were Prevail Beyond, Prevail at It, and I think that the whole essence of Prevail is to challenge what we know as traditional theatre / arts in Kenya. Their shows are really, really authentic. They're authentically written. They challenge conventional thinking. I relate to them so much because they also challenge you to think beyond sort of what you're used to thinking. And they have a few shows coming up. They just had Blessed Be the Fruit. If you didn't catch that, hey, pole sana. But you have an opportunity to catch them again this month with their latest, actually. Not latest because they've done it again. Supernova. Supernova is a one-man show by the one and only, and it's going around Kenya, so you can catch it in Eldoret, Mombasa, Nanyuki. I think one more town as well. Catch it. It's a one-man show. It's extremely stellar, and I really, as I ran out of adjectives could describe. I've watched it the first time, and I'll watch it again, and I'll encourage and bring all of my friends to catch it. It's running at the Kenya National Theatre main auditorium on the 31st of May. If you don't, or if you're listening to this in like 2044, Prevail Presents will still be killing it and doing so many big things in Kenya, in Africa, beyond, and representing the motherland in a very special way. Very proud of them, and very honored for them to be sponsoring this particular episode. Prevail Presents. You can see everything about them on their social media pages. That is Prevail Presents everywhere.
Bless up, man. Wazidi.
Kwa
wema. Wazidi
very
kwa
good
wema.
friends of the podcast.
Right? We could almost say we sleep with them in the same bed, you know? Lazima to do my callbacks. That's what's up. Tuingie ndani. We have a guest. Ni pande yako ama pande yangu? Mimi ndio na wa introduce. Uliza.
Are they brilliant?
Oh, bro. Of course they are. Of course they are. Especially tukiwa na privilege. You and I haven't seen them
through this journey.
Through this journey.
I agree.
Tumekuwa tulianza from deskmates to fans. Unajua?
Fans. Actually, that is true. But
we are legit fans.
I can't wait to nini.
So they're definitely brilliant.
Yeah. Are they representing the motherland?
Bro, they are representing the motherland for sure. In so many ways, from all the works they've done before to their current projects and all that is ahead of them. We're so excited for them representing, unajua. Africa. Lakini no pressure.
And last but not least, are they busy being born?
Bro, they're definitely busy being born.
Like
every other guest, of course, wamekuwa na hizo iterations, just improving themselves over the years. And yes, definitely busy being born.
Tell us more.
That's what's up, ladies and gentlemen. Our guest today is an award-winning actor with a background in, weirdly, the same like our previous guest. It's a background in accounts.
Yeah, that is true. Morris.
Atatuambia sasa hata vile aliflip. The other one alikuwa JJ, alikuwa na engineering.
JJ engineering.
There you go. And now we have an artist, a phenomenal one at that. Na background yake ni accounts, but they'll tell us more. His journey has also seen him produce and collaborate in numerous projects across different spectrums. Kwa hii, tuseme tu acting by itself, from stage. He's been prolific at that. He's worked with different companies on stage. From the first time nilimjua ilikuwa the Planets Theatre. Then soon enough alikuwa FCA, Friends Ensemble, aliwork na Phoenix pia, like he's done. Amewakadi na Prevail. Look at that.
Oh.
Yeah. What project was that? Who's Your Daddy too? Yeah, don't mind the title, just mind the dope actor that we're about to introduce. He has also been in phenomenal award-winning shows. In fact, his latest is nominated for an wacha niseme hiyo jina yote, I hope I get it right. Ni AMVCA'S, yes, Africa Magic Viewers Choice Awards 2023. His latest project iko hapo as a nominee in the comedy category. Najua mshaona kwa title ya hii episode, but wacha niendelee kuchocha. They have been prolific on TV shows as well, being a lead in a couple of shows, the latest being Suna Johnny. Yeah, yendi alikuwa original Johnny. I think at some point tato alikuwa asema Johnny original. Ama kitu kayo. I think that was the name of his particular character. And the one that everyone sees him by, ata wamesahau jina yake, wako Njoro, because there you have it. He's Njoro the guy behind Njoro wa Uba, the face of Njoro wa Uba. So ladies and gentlemen, we give you the prolific, very talented, in fact I could say multi-talented, because he produces as well. He's also smart as well, unajua book wake ndo. The very talented Joe Kinyua. Wapi makofi ya Joe Kinyua tafadhali? Shangwe na delemo. Karibu sana bana. Tunafaa by this time tukwe na tule today mtu wa kudance, unajua maua. We got you bro. Next episode.
Wame dance hapa.
Wangekuwa hapa wame dance jo. Kwanza ninge mention hiyo part tulikuwa kwa same screen time na nani, hata si screen time, tuseme tu frame na Benedict Cumberbatch. Mtu wangu zile
that happened.
We'll talk about it.
Let's start there.
Tuanze hapo.
Tuanze tu hapo kwanza.
Okay, sawa.
How the hell did that happen?
Kwanza before that manzi chocha.
Wewe ni mnoma man.
Wewe ni mnoma.
Anyway, asante sana.
Nikuulize, was any of that a lie?
No, it wasn't.
Exactly, si chocha.
Okay.
Nasi hyperbole.
Okay, you kweli. Benedict. First thing kwanza tasiko najua Benedict ni nani, hata tukiwa na set. So what happened, auditions zilikoliwa, nikaenda, and one of the things walikuwa nataka ilikuwa mtu akona na passport na uko nayo sayo as in si uanze kusema una apply. So I think hiyo ilirusha watu wengi sana nje. So auditions kama kawaida, walikuwa nasema it's just an international project, hakuwa nasema ni gani. So nikapata hiyo role and tukashoot. So that's how it happened.
What role was this?
So movie yenyewe ni about WikiLeaks, the Fifth Estate ni about WikiLeaks. So apparently Julian Assange, alikuwa amekuwa into contact na some Kenyans, two Kenyans, moja anaitwa John Paul na mwingine ni Oscar Kingara. And the interesting thing is nilikuwa meet John Paul before.
John Paul and Oscar Kingara. Oscar Kingara is the one who was shot up Ufungamano.
Yes, actually walishutiwa wote wawili walikuwa pamoja.
I remember I was in campus then. It was such a big deal.
Yes.
Yeah, but long story anyway.
So tulikuwa na play roles za hao. Mimi nilikuwa na play John Paul and then Peter King alikuwa anacheza Oscar. So nilikuwa nimewahi meet John Paul before, so it was interesting, and nilikuwa na feel at least niweze kuiportray vizuri, nimrepresent vizuri, because alikuwa na ideals alikuwa na stand for. Actually that's one of the reasons mbona inasemekana waliganiwa down kwa sababu walikuwa wanaongelelea about extrajudicial killings. Yep. Walikuwa very vocal about it. Yeah.
Wow. And how was that experience with Benedict on set?
It was an awesome experience. Not just with Benedict, but the whole production team venye ilikuwa inafanya kazi, because ilikuwa ni DreamWorks ndo walikuwa wanaiproduce. So kwenda huko, because there's a scene we shot here in Kibera, and then there's ni Kibera ama ni Kibra and then there's a scene we shot in Belgium. Still kwa movie ni Kibera, lakini tulishutia Belgium. I think the professionalism that those guys have, being an industry yenye imegrow na imekoma, it was top notch. Nilienjoy sana because tulikuwa na like I think a scene or two, but the way we were treated, hakuna tile kutreatiwa as a lesser, human being, kwa sababu kila mtu akona trailer yake. In terms of kuingia set, uko na assistant wako mwenye anakusaidiana, because it's cold in Belgium, it's very cold. Hiyo time tulikuwa tumeenda, it was cold, so uko na mtu amekushikia jacket, ukiingia set, ukitoka hivi tu set umekuja muulizo kama unataka maji, kama you okay, anything you need. Nilienjoy sana, and I wish and I'm hoping at some point that even here in Kenya we'll get to that level of professionalism. Yeah.
That makes me feel a couple of things. The first one, wait hatujafika huko bado. It is well. But the other one, which is curious, and I hope itatusaidia saku kuingia sakwa story vizuri, is nanajua probably Kamande you have a question around that season, but as soon as Kamande shares, we can now go back to, was there a time in your life that you ever thought you'd leave the country to perform? Unajua, did you see it for yourself at, I don't know, 10 years old, at 15, at 7, uko but siku moja nita travel to beyond these borders kuact,
Not as an accountant.
As an actor. Yeah.
As an actor. Yes, it has always been a dream of mine. And in fact, I feel I need to do more of that. Sijafanya enough. I mean, it was only that one opportunity I got ya kwenda ku work out of the country. Huku, yes, nimetravel kidogo hapa na pale, which again is something I love. Napenda kutravel sana. So whenever I get an opportunity to travel and work at the same time, perfect for me. So yes, ni kitu nilikuwa nimetamani sana, and I am glad that it finally happened, and I hope nitaendelea kutravel nikifanya kazi.
No, it was actually just kitu may come to mind when we talked to Nini, akatuambia with her experience doing Sense8, the same exact sentiments about the professionalism of those settings. Kama ni zebra tunatafuta, they are going to paint donkeys, but they are not going to fake it. They'll rather like spend all the time they need, all the money, whatever, make sure that we have a proper representation. So the same exact sentiments. Okay,
tulenge juu tulenge juu hiyo ni kitu ya starch or something. I don't know what it came to mind. I don't know.
Joe, tukupatia ka side mirror hapa.
Why is that? Kamande jokes zako saa zingine
unaget kwa nini? Unaget kwa nini? Because that's my favorite thing about Njoro wa Uber.
Wow bro, wow. Wait, umesikia hiyo joke before? Umesikia before? No wonder umeget.
Like every time, like this guy and Njoroba is great as a show, and your acting is great. But me as a fan, my favorite moment is whenever like someone gets into your Uber, alafu kitu inaanza kuhappen, unaonaga tu msee ameangalia ka side mirror hivi. Alafu then unaangalia tu like hizo facial expressions zake, man, and they finish. I definitely live for that.
Wait, how long have you waited to ask that, man?
For 3 months.
Do you know what this has made me feel? Imenikumbusha Esther Kazungu. Esther Kazungu did a sketch around that. Sindio?
Oh yes.
That was really good.
Perfect depiction. Yani hakuna kitu alihata.
Right?
It was dope.
Look at that one. Okay.
So tukupatia ka side mirror, because me yenyewe I'll die. If I give you a side mirror right now, man, I mean nitaisha.
Even throw food. But all good.
Okay.
Wacha turudi huko nyuma. When you at what point do you think I think I'll jump into acting? I could do this as a profession? Or even at that young age, like when you're growing up under 10 or your season, are you thinking one day I'll grow up and I'll be an actor? Or is this a thing that is you're clueless about?
I always had that interest. Nilikuwa nikigrow up, nilikuwa na watch akina Vio Jamaa Kamani, akina Vitimbi, na nilikuwa nazipenda sana, na nilikuwa na hope at some point nitakuwa pamoja na wao.
Oh, you did?
Yes. Yeah. And nakumbuka tukigrow up, we weren't allowed to watch TV. So ilikuwa weekdays, hakuna watch TV. You get home, do your homework, revise, study, all that stuff. So TV tulikuwa na watch weekends peke yake. Friday after umemaliza homework up to Sunday 9 p.m. because lazima ungeenda bed by 9 p.m. because tomorrow ni school day. But whenever it came to vioja mahakamani ama vitimbi, nilikuwa na watch. Na ni mimi peke yangu nilikuwa allowed ku watch. And I think kwa sababu walikuwa naona niko na hiyo interest. So nilikuwa tu nakuja nakaa chini nita watch, the moment imeisha nitarudi back to my homework and other things. So nilikuwa nayo interest from kitambo, and I hoped at some point nitaweza kuwa join. And I remember at some point, sijawai work now, but I remember at some point when we were doing Suna Joni, because the same production company ilikuwa ina produce Suna Joni ndio wana produce Hulabalu Estate, which is being done by akina Makoha, akina Ondiek, akina Alexander. So meeting them huko ilikuwa fulfillment moja kubwa sana kwangu, that these are people, stars, legends I've grown up watching. I've always wanted to work with them. Yes, I haven't had that opportunity, but just meeting them and having a chat with them, ilikuwa fulfillment moja kubwa sana kwa maisha yangu.
At what age is this that you're thinking maybe hii ni kitu na like sana kudu?
That's nikiwa primary, so I would say 8, 9 hapo. 8, 9, 10 hapo. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And your parents wali notice hii story?
Yes. I think wali notice because sioni reason nyingine mbona hawakuwa wananiuliza maswali nikienda, because nilisiku tu moja nilienda nikakaa chini na nika watch na sikuulizwa swali yoyote, and from that day it became a habit every time, because nakumbuka I think vioja ilikuwa inakuja on, was it on Wednesdays, and then vitimbi ilikuwa inakuja on Mondays if I'm not wrong.
Wow.
Hiyo time ilikuwa inafika ndaenda ndakaa chini nda watch, then after that I go back to doing my studies. So wali notice from that young age. And I remember the very first time walikuja high school, kulikuwa na parents day nikiwa high school, and I think that was the very first play that I did. Ilikuwa Interhouse Drama Festival, so our play won, and because it won, now hiyo ndio sasa ikakuwa inapresentiwa kwa wazazi, parents day. And was it my dad? I think it was my mom who came. She was so proud of me. Yani you could see after the presentation tukipatana naye akinisalimia, she was so proud. I think alikuwa anajua tuliona, and now here it is being actualized.
Yeah. And at what point, sorry, actually I have two questions. One is, what was this feeling like? Because sometimes me find hard to go back in my life, and a lot of people really. Kuna wase wanakuwaga na hiyo, wanafeel hiyo fire that this is something that I really want to pursue. So they're very clear. There is some clarity that comes with that feeling, and the others who just don't. And you have to tinker around with a lot of things in the course of your life in order to land at something that now you say, okay, this is exactly what I want to be doing. So it doesn't have to be one thing really. Sometimes in life, I think unapojipataga place, you do one thing and then unamalizana nayo, then you jump into the next one. But in terms of like childhood, feeling ilikuwaje? Is this something that you can ilikuwa ni interest too, ama what was it like? Is it something that you can put your words around? And it's okay if it doesn't make sense.
At that time I didn't even think that ni kitu, yes nilikuwa natamani, but sikuwa nimewaifikiria kabisa ni kitu itaja kuwa career. It was interest and curiosity, I would say, at that time, and a feeling I can't explain. I think nilikuwa tu na feel niko home nikizi watch ama nikifikiria that one day I'll be doing this. I mean I can be doing this at some point in my life. So at that point sikuwa sure sana if it's something that I will do as a career.
You just drawn to it.
Yes. That was it.
Okay. And then at what point do you get the opportunity to actually test the waters?
So
primo tumesema umeongea about a play.
Yes. So nakuwaga mshy sana. That's one thing people really hawaelewangi, kwa sababu wanafikirianga because you're in front of the cameras then personality yako huwezi kuwa introvert, huwezi kuwa mshy. So I remember in primary school kulikuwa na opportunity yangu ya kutest the waters, but I didn't take it kwa sababu hiyo kuwa shy na kuwa muoga. Kuna mwalimu alikuja akaanza kuintroduce drama, and so there was an opportunity ya kukuwa part of a choreography team. And I remember walikuwa natafuta watu wata volunteer, na nilikuwa nataka sana kuvolunteer. Something inside me naniambia volunteer, but uoga ikafanya nisi volunteer, so that opportunity ikapita. The next opportunity sasa niliipata nikiwa high school, inter-house drama. So niko form 1, opportunity come, and I remember the dorm captain alikuwa na script, so ilikuwa just dishing out roles. Nani anataka kufanya hii role? Mtu anainua mkono. Nani anataka kufanya hii role? Mwingine anainua mkono. Then pia mimi nikajiambia okay, probably this is my opportunity, nikachukua role moja, and I didn't know itaenda wapi. Ilikuwa role ya, so it's a boys school, and play lazima itakuwa na roles za wavulana, wasichana, wamama, wababa. So watu wako wanapenda role za madem sana. So I remember one of the reasons mbona nilichukua hii role, juu bado nilikuwa na hiyo uoga. So wamedish out roles zote zimechukuliwa. So one particular role, imetoka. One particular role ilikuwa Mama Peter. So wamedish out roles zote. Nani atafanya Mama Peter? Hakuna mtu anachukua hiyo role. Wanaenda kwa hizo zingine, finally wakamaliza zote, Mama Peter haijachukuliwa. So niko na hiyo uoga bado, then kitu tu ikaniambia chukua, why not? Nikaichukua. And the interesting thing is nilishinda nikiitwa hiyo jina. I remember by the time tunaingia form 3 sasa ndio nikakata hiyo jina. Nikaanza kuambia wasi hapana. Sasa ni jina yangu. But sasa Peter ikabaki. So kuna watu I think nikiingia form 4 walikuwa wanafikiria muitwa Peter. Kwa sababu Peter mama ilitoka, but Peter ikabaki. So yeah, that was now the first time for me to test the waters. And I think from hapo sasa nikajua, yeah, this is something I definitely want to do. Maybe not as a career, but it's something that I definitely want to do.
Yeah.
Let's put names to these places, yeah? So hood ilikuwa wapi growing up? Chuo ni gani uliishia? Like from Primo tukienda high school.
Hood nimegrow up Isili, street inaitwa Galole Street. Sijai kuwa sure kama ni section 1 ama ni section 2 ama ni section gani ya Isili, zina kwa gana sections. But yeah, Galole Street iko karibu na Garissa, the famous Garissa. So that's where I grew up. Shule nilienda primary school, nilienda Rescos Primary School. Iko tu bado hizo areas za Isili. Then at some point, I think tukiwa class 7, we moved from Isili to Mweki Kasarani. So nikamalizia primary school huko, and then unacheka watu.
No, nacheka kwa sababu our previous guest pia aligrow up Mwiki Kasarani. Morris Otieno. Nanda amentupia jicho kwa mbona huku accountant, watu wa Mwiki kwa accountants.
So tuka move to Mwiki, and then high school I went to Queen of Apostles Seminary. It's a junior seminary. So one thing, kila sana nikiambia watu I went to a junior seminary, wanaulizanga, so why are you not a priest? So junior seminary, it's just like a kawaida high school, only that now kwa sababu mnafundishwa about wako na hiyo wanasisitiza more about the church nini, so that now if you have interest to become a priest, now sasa unaweza enda to senior seminary after junior seminary. So yes, at some point nilikuwa interested, but I came to realize nilikuwa interested for the wrong reasons. I think because nilikuwa na feel venye priests wamevaa hizo nguo zao zilikuwa zinanikalia very fancy, very very appealing, elegant. Yeah, so at some point nilikuwa naifikiria, but then I realized your point ya kutomari a bit tricky, so I decided. So yeah,
story ya celibacy tricky kidogo. It is well.
Tricky kidogo.
Wacha tuende history ya Mama Peter.
Yeah.
And the courage to step forward. Are there other seasons in your growing up that you remember ndani ukijiambia step forward, and hopefully you did, and this is besides just the acting? Kuna season ingine, other things you are good at, and wangesema nani atadui, na uko no, I got you, na hiyo ilikuwa less, haikuwa na as much fear surrounding it?
Sidhani niliwahi kuwa na hiyo point ya kufeel nataka kustep up na nika step up, because I remember even in primary school, when it came to football, I remember sana nikitamani kukuwa goalkeeper, but then I think fear ilinimaliza. Sikuwahi weza kustep forward na kujiput out there kwa team, ni volunteer, niseme yes I can be the goalkeeper. So yeah, growing up I think nilikuwa na hiyo fear sana. I never took the bull by its horns, so to speak. Opportunities, I think looking back, opportunities mingi sana zilikuwa zinanipita because of that.
Yeah. And also looking back, why do you feel that fear was there?
I don't know. I think later nilikam kuji accept being an introvert. I like keeping to myself sana. I will see something, I will watch something, I will have opinions about what I'm seeing, what I'm watching, but I will keep them to myself. And that has always been me. Now looking back najiambia, maybe that is why. Maybe sikuwa najua mimi ni introvert back then, but now that I know myself, maybe that is the reason why sikuwa najiput out there.
Yeah. And how then, after that realization, do you manage now to step up despite your fear?
Acceptance. I came to accept myself. That's kitambo. I would fear going into a room where there are strangers because I would keep to myself, and then at the back of my mind nilikuwa najiambia bana shindwa huyu mtu shida yake ni nini, mbona na keep to himself. But then venye nilijijua na nikaji accept, nowadays I can go into that room and I know I don't have, if I don't want to say something, I don't have to say something. I can just go kwa kona yangu, be in my thoughts, na si worry about what these other people are thinking. So I think that acceptance, knowing myself and your acceptance, ndio ikafanya nijue, okay, if I want to say something, nitaisema. If I don't want to say something, if I don't feel like say something, then si lazima. So yeah, I think your acceptance ndio imefanya nianze kurealize I can put myself out there kwa kitu nataka, si lazima ikue kila kitu, si lazima ikue what others expect of me. Yeah.
Did Mama Pita help? Like sasa after that, was it easier to, the following year ulisema yes I'll do this, and the following year yes I'll do this?
Most definitely, because after Mama Pita now, every time tukiwa na not just inter-house drama, but because by the time we're getting to form 4, nakumbuka mimi ndio nilikuwa leader wa dom yetu when it came to inter-house drama. So yes, ili wezesha kuanza kujiput out there, because even now drama ya shule yenyewe, as much as hatuko tunaenda mbali in terms of competition, but yes, nilikuwa najiput out there kwa every year, whether it's a play, whether it's a choral verse, nilikuwa najiput out there. So it helped, it definitely helped.
Did you guys try do a choral verse on theology? Maybe mge excel a bit.
Buddha boss. Chore your story.
Huyo
dangerous. Oh good, that's what's up. By the time you're finishing high school, are there other things you realize you're good at? Like, are you excelling at math? I don't know. Are you excelling at how you're socializing with people? What else have you discovered about yourself?
Yes. Nilikuwa nimediscover a lot of things about myself. Number 1, games. Nilikuwa napenda games sana. So I was in the school team ya basketball na school team ya volleyball. So nilikuwa nimeanza kujiput out there. I remember pia nilirealize this is something nilianza kurealize nikiwa form 1, that I'm good at math. Nilikuwa napenda hesabu sana. You see the way people would wake up in the morning to go and do preps za asubuhi. Na in the school I was, hatukuwa na preps za asubuhi, ilikuwa ni za jioni peke yake. So asubuhi ilikuwa ni wewe kujitolea uende class by 5 a.m. because you were supposed to kuwa na mass at 6:30. So between 5 and 6:30 watu wangeamka kwenda kurevise. People would go and start revising physics nini. Mimi I would go there and start revising maths. Watu walikuwa wanashindwa ni mbaya na wewe. Hesabu of all things. And ilinisaidia sana because min grade yangu ilikuwa poa because 3 subjects yenye nilikuwa na excel at, maths, English na Kiswahili, nilikuwa napata marks poa sana, such that hata hizi zingine nikipata kidogo min grade at least inakuwa fiti. So yeah, hizo ndio vitu nilianza kurealize. I would say games na hesabu sana. Yeah, and I think that's what now led into me pursuing accounting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are some wonderful lessons from that season, especially the one on acceptance. Yeah.
In that season, right before sasa tutoke hiyo season ya high school, how good are you at breaking hizo walls, your personality na keeping to yourself? Are you, I don't know that much about Queens. Mlikuwa mnaenda funkies and all. So ulikuwa, had you started talking to girls? How are you around socializing?
Nilikuwa chini. especially when it came to socializing with girls.
Yeah.
Tulikuwa tunaenda funky. I remember a friend of mine alikuwa na make sure amekuwa ni wingman. So tulikuwa tunaenda naye, anivuta, tunaenda tunaanza kuongea na madem, alafu wanajitoa wananiacha hapo. Yo.
Anaishia na madem.
Anaenda na wake, ananiacha hapo na mmoja. Okay. Ni kama kunirusha kwa depend. Ni deal nayo. But apart from that, nilikuwa nimerealize pia when I'm comfortable with someone, I'm around people, then I am myself kabisa. So when it came to socialize kwa shule yenyewe, hiyo nilikuwa sawa because I have friends, niko na clique, nini. But now sasa, hiyo kuenda nje kwa funky, hapo ndio nilikuwa na realize, I think because ni strangers naenda kuinteract nao, so hapo ndio nilikuwa napata na close up kidogo because it's people sijazoeana nao. So that's why hata tukiwa na huo best yangu tukiwa naye hapo niko sawa because there's someone I know. But the moment wametoka nimebaki niko na stranger, then sasa hapo ilikuwa ni noma. Hapo ilikuwa ni noma.
Unamshow umecheki Njoro Uba.
Yata kuna Njoro Uba.
See, of course it's a joke ni fala. All good. Tuingie next season ama to
No, I think we have some good lessons from there.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So the next season, soon enough, you're getting into the arts, but soon enough, you're also getting into Kole and all. So how do you transit into the next season after high school?
After high school. I remember nikiwa form 1, venye nilienda interview ya Queen of Apostles. So one of the questions mtu alikuwa anaulizwa is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember saying I want to be an accountant because nilikuwa nishaanza kupata interest ya maths kidogo. And I remember, priest akiniambia, here we train people to become priests. So utakuwa accountant, yes, but itabidi umekuwa priest. But it was on a light note because it's a junior seminary, just so that you can get that interest. So throughout high school, I knew I wanted to be an accountant. And even after high school, the first thing that I did, na kwa sababu at least marks zangu zilinikubali, was to kuanza kufanya CPA. So nikaingia CPA right after high school. That was 2002. And at that time, I didn't know whether I wanted to pursue acting or not. It was still an interest that I had, but ilikuwa uko kwa background. Until and I remember very well, kulikuwa na kwa youth ya church, kulikuwa na choir nini walikuwa na wanaenda kwa intercultural drama festivals za kanisa. And I had that interest, but still bado I think you woga yangu, because now this is another level. Si ile level nimezoea shule, sasa tumetoka. Sasa tumetoka, tuko a different environment. Bado nilikuwa na hiyo woga. So it took a neighbor of ours alikuwa kwa hiyo group ya church, and walikuwa wanaenda hizo drama festivals. So walikuwa wananid watu. And I remember she approached my brother. Akamwambia, hey, tunanid watu, we don't have enough guys, so simkuje. My bro akamwambia, okay, mimi sinaga interest, but brother angu mdogo anakuwaga na interest na stories za drama. Hata shule, he was doing very well when it comes to drama. Akamwambia, si umwambia kuje. So that's how it happened. So dilinidia ko kapush kadogo from my bro. Then nikaenda nikawa join, and yeah. So that opened a whole new world for me in terms of acting.
Yeah. And at this point, you're juggling both kwenda shule for CPAs and whatever is happening at church.
Yes, because nishaanza CPA. So classes zikiisha jioni, most of the times rehearsals zilikuwa jioni. Jioni and weekends, sasa ndo tulikuwa na maximize sana kwa sababu that's when now everyone is available. So yeah, I would go to college during the day, jioni go for rehearsals, na weekends as well.
Yeah. And at what point, looking back, would you say that ulikuwa na feel ni gani na kubring a lot more joy, if at all?
At that particular point in time, I think bado nilikuwa naifanya kama hobby ama interest niko nayo. So in the jump forward kidogo, but when now I realized this is what inanipatia fulfillment, hii ndio kitu nataka kufanya kwa life yangu. So during hizo mwaka za hizo drama festivals za church, there's like a clique that now we formed. Watu tunajuana, this one is good at playwriting, this one is good at producing, ako good at this. So at some point, I remember this was after nimemaliza college, na sasa niko in between jobs. I'm looking for jobs as an accountant. So there's this period, I think it was like 6 months, nilikuwa jobless. And at this point, I had also started doing plays for other churches, not just because I'm Catholic. So nakumbuka nilikuwa nafanya plays na group ya PCA. And hiyo time yote tumekam, as we move along tunajuana na watu. So there's this time, one of the guys mwenye alikuwa anaandikaga plays for hiyo church yetu, alikuwa ameandika a certain play but hatukuwa tumeiperform. So ilikuwa imeshelviwa. Then at some point tukajiuliza, why not produce this play? So tukashikana watu watano because we didn't have enough resources. So he was the playwright and the director, and then we had to look for, because play ilikuwa na 4 actors, so we had to look for 3 other actors to come on board. And I remember we convinced them to contribute 1,000 bob each, and back then 1,000 bob was a lot of money. 1,000 bob into tickets, flyers, posters, and all that. These other guys, the 3 other guys, 2 were students, 1 alikuwa job, so hawakuwa available during the day. So mimi na the playwright anaitwa Benson, sisi ndo tulikuwa na do all the running around in terms of stick flyers, market show, everything.
And you're doing this under the umbrella of the church?
No, not really. Actually, tulikuwa this particular play, we decided to do it as a group that is separate from the church.
Okay.
I remember tulikuwa tunajita Shakers Theatre, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, at that time.
And where are you staging it?
Church. So tulikuwa tunatumia bado ties zetu za church, because I remember hall tulipewa bure na church, because we've grown there, they know us, they know what we are doing, they have seen the interest we have, so walikuwa na to support. So tukai stage kwa church, and I remember the reaction from the audience. And at the end of the play, interacting with these people, and these are your friends, your brothers, people who grow now, wanakuja wanakuambia how good the play was, that this is something you guys should do more and more. And at that particular time, I remember tukilook back, tukiona how hard it was for us to produce that play, from the day we decided to do it to hizo hustle zote za kurun around, marketing, ticketing, hizo vitu zote. That's when now I realized the fulfillment I got at the end of it, because of the reaction from the audience. That's now what made me realize, yes, nimekuwa nikipursue accounting, and yes, nimekuwa nikifanya acting as a hobby, acting stroke producing as a hobby. But now at that particular point in time is when I realized this is actually something that I can do for a living, and the satisfaction and fulfillment that I'm getting from it. Not that sipendi mahesabu bado, not that sipendi kudu mambo ya accounting bado, but at that time nili realize hii inanipatia more joy and fulfillment, and maybe this is something I should pursue now as a career.
That was the inflection point. That was the turning point. Yeah.
Okay, let's put a timestamp on this. Yeah, so around what year is this?
This is 2006. Yes, 2006, early 2007, if I'm not wrong. Skumbuki vizuri the date, yeah, but hiyo ndio timeline.
Around there.
Yeah.
Alafu CPAs so far umefanya levels kadhaa ama umefunga hiyo story?
Actually, yes. Hiyo period nilikuwa nimemaliza CPA. Okay. So nilifanya from section 1 to section 6. I don't know if that's still venye inakuaga, but yeah, section 1 to section 6 nilikuwa nimemaliza yote, and at that time nilikuwa nishaanza kupata jobs as an accountant. Well, not really as an accountant, but kwa hiyo field ya accounting, because I remember again, one of the things yenye pia ilifanya nikajua hii ndio inanipatia fulfillment is the fact that period yangu ya as an accountant, I remember in a period of 3 years I had moved, nilikuwa nimefanya kazi na 4 different organizations. So naingia hapa, at some point na feel there's something missing, so nafikiria maybe ni hii job, so natafuta job ingine, maybe a different company, maybe things will be different. Naenda hapo still na feel there is something missing. So now I think having that feeling, yeah, something is missing here, something is missing there, but then now when it comes to mambo ya industry na arts na feel your fulfillment, I think ilinisaidia kuweza ku make that decision.
Because accounting I change sana, sindio? See, it's the same debit credit, right? Whichever company you go to. So you sort of have to find some excitement outside of that, because the moment I think umeka at an accountant in a beverage company, in a whatever company, the books are done in more or less the same way.
More or less the same way, I would say pia mimi. Only that maybe sasa environment ya hii company ni different na ile ingine.
Okay.
No, nina smile because at this point I don't know, is it at this point that you notice the difference between art and accounts? Is moja una deal na pesa a lot, ingine maze pesa ni noma kuget. But anyway, so nimejipata tu nikismile ko. Anyway, so at what point do we make acting professional? And at what point, more or less, are we getting paid for acting?
Okay, so at this particular point, nime decide that this is what I want to do, but of course, kuna wazazi, you have to convince them, because wame spend a lot of money kuni take through accounting shule, and as much as na feel high work, pia kuna yo, I owe them an explanation, you get. Na bado pia sijajua how to really go about it in terms of now being a professional actor. So at some point nakumbuka nilipata job ilifanya niende Coast. So nikaenda Coast and
accounting or acting?
Accounting. And I remember nikiwa Coast nilikuwa natamaa sana cause job ilikuwa niende ni land system. It's a company that the head office HQ headquarters zake ziko Mombasa, and then iko na branch Nairobi. So Mombasa, they were using a different accounting system than the one that is being used in Nairobi. So hizo books zikikam zilikuwa walikuwa na have kutafuta mtu wa ku enter into your system ya Mombasa, so that at least ikuwe one system wa line kila kitu. So nakumbuka nikitumwa Mombasa, my job was to go learn that system and then come and implement it in the Nairobi branch. So I remember being in Mombasa, nilikuwa tu na hiyo urge natamani kurudi Nairobi sana, because I had decided nataka kuanza kutafuta auditions, but now in Mombasa, I don't know about now, but at that time bado arts hazikuwa zimeshika vizuri. So I came back to Nairobi, and then ilikuwa company inaoniwa na Waindi, na walikuwa na a bit of some wrangles za familia na zilikuwa zina affect kazi, because now the family that is in Mombasa wanataka hii system implement iwe haraka, but the family that is in Nairobi hawana haraka na the implementation of the system. So nilikuwa najipata I am idle throughout the day, kwa sababu until hii system iko implemented then sina kazi, na huku hawataki kufacilitate. And I remember that time, now when I came back to Nairobi 6 months later, sasa nikaanza because of now being idle, and of course pia interest yangu kwa acting imekuwa mob, nikaanza kutafuta auditions. So every time I would make sure at the end of the week, either Thursday or Friday, because kampuni ilikuwa Mombasa Road, I would now come to CBD, naingia Alliance, naenda Gute, National Theatre, Phoenix, kwa notice board, kuangalia kama kuna any auditions zenye ziko niende. Then one day tuko job, and then I saw kwa gazeti Planets Theatre wame put out a call for auditions. Na ilikuwa niliona I think around 12 just before we to break for lunch, and nika decide nitaenda. So time ya lunch nikaambia colleague wangu kirudi ambia mdosi si feel poa blah blah blah, nikakimbia auditions. So I went for the auditions, nikapata imeisha. By the time nilikuwa nafika nilipata nikuisha zinaisha. The interesting thing is na hakuwa ananijua Bobby, you know Bobby Buluma, hakuwa ananijua. So nilimpata hapo nikamwambia ni aje na kuna auditions hapa, akaniambia lakini zimeisha, so maybe next time.
Akamwambia ndogo zishaisha zisaisa.
That's Bobby. But I don't know what he saw in me, kwa sababu aliniambia kuna callbacks kesho, so you can come back for the callbacks. Na unajua callbacks zinafaa kuwa za wenye walienda hiyo audition ya kwanza, wame make it through to the next level. So I don't know what he saw in me, akaniambia wewe kuja callbacks kesho. So ile ugonjwa nilidanganyana, I had to call kwa ofisi, nikamwambia bado siko poa. So the following day sikuingia job, nikaenda hizo callbacks and I got a role. And so that now marked my exit from accounting and now into acting.
Wow, into acting. Look at that. Is it at this point we meet? I think parts zetu zina cross around this, the three of us.
This time.
Around this time.
And here we sit 15 years later.
Wow.
How did you convince your parents, if at all? You needed to have a story for them.
So I don't know kama watawachia ama watasikiza, but hawajawahi jua. So what happened is
hawajawahi jua ni actor.
Hawajawahi jua that transition.
Yeah.
So what happened, sikuwa na guts za kuambia at that time. So au walikuwa najua nafanya kazi ya accounting bado, and acting ni ya jioni, so they didn't know. So even hata tukifanya traveling theater, tukitravel tukiwa huko, walikuwa najua bado naenda job kwa ofisi. But you see, at that time nisha move from home, so hatuna contact now sana apart from now the weekends yenye tunaenda home or the phone calls. So at that time walikuwa najua bado mimi ni accountant. I think it was until 2009 or thereabout, 2010 or thereabout is when now nilienda nikawambia, because they knew it's something that I do. Wananiona kwa posters za plays, but wanafikiria ni side hustle ya jioni. So at that time nilienda nikawambia, okay, accounting niliwacha, now this is what I'm doing full time. Iko na challenges zake, but we push on, we soldier on. And at first they didn't take it very well. But then again, I think them realizing that inani lipia bills, niko comfortable malinaishi, comfortable in quotes, because I was everything but comfortable at that time. So walikuwa naona ni sawa, because ni career, unasema unaipenda, unasema ni kitu nataka kufanya, then by all means. And then also pia nilikuwa nimwambia, and this is something I knew nitakuwa nafanya, because I knew at some point I'll get into producing. And accounting is I would say is the heart of accounting department, is the heart of every organization. Hapo ndio pesa inaingia, inatoka, hiyo hapo ndio mambo yote. So I knew that when it comes to now producing, nita focus more on pande ya pesa. So even the accounting knowledge that I acquired, everything that I know about accounting, at least nitaweza kuapply.
It's not wasted
It's
knowledge.
not wasted. And I think telling them that is what I intend to do at some point, pia iliwapatia ile comfort ya umesoma na at least knowledge yote na hii pesa yote tumetumia haiendi to waste. At some point you're going to use it.
Yeah. You've said you were very far from comfortable. Yeah. We'll get into that. Yeah. And even before we do, let's pick a few lessons from that season. What would you advise anyone thinking of transitioning from quote unquote any other professional engagement into acting? What would you say? Mimi hapa, by the way, these are the things I should have done, yet I didn't, and I wish I did.
Okay. First of all, the courage to do it. Courage to do it. Kwa sababu, having a salary at the end of every month, there's a comfort na kupatia yenye hii pande ingine hakuna.
It's like heroin.
Yes.
Bana.
Noma. Kabisa. So you need that courage, because watu wengi kuna hiyo woga, how then am I going to be able to pay my bills if I don't have a constant income or salary at the end of every month? So kuwa na hiyo courage. If this is something you want to do, then kuwa na hiyo courage and do it. But the most important thing I would tell them is plan, because hapo ndo mimi nilikosea. So you see, dilienda, I was working for a mwindi na atukuwa tina ile contract imenifunga sana. So venye nilipata hiyo role ya Planets, niliendelea kugonjeka for the rest of the month. Then at the end of the month, I went and told my boss, that's it. I'm out. Nimepata job place ingine. So akanilipa, I remember it was on the 18th of the month, 18th of, was it June? I think it was 18th of June. Ndio nilienda nikapata hiyo role. So alinilipa mshahara hiyo mwezi from 1st to 18th. Na sikuwa nimesave, sikuwa na savings, because it's not something that I'd planned to do. So I didn't have savings. So now that transition was very hard for me, because number one, tunajua venye industry iko, and then number two, if you remember very well, siku end up nimefanya set books hiyo term na Planets. Because we didn't agree with the producer, mambo ya payment.
Ulisikia hiyo pesa uko, wait, what?
Ilikuwa shock. And knowing that nikona what do you call it, knowing that nikona bills za kulipa. You see, most of the people when wanafanya traveling theater wako nyumbani, so they don't have to worry about rent, food, hizo vitu zote. Actually even transport walikuwa wanapewa na wazazi kukuja rehearsals. So I didn't have all that. So I needed money that now will make sense for me, that itaweza kulipa bills zote, transport, nini, kila kitu. So I think that's happened. And I think nikiingia nilikuwa na perception ya there is money in this industry. So nilikuwa zileza, Devi unanidanganya. Hapana, I will take that money. So now, because from your June, the next time I think I was getting a paying gig was January, February of the following year.
Whoa.
So it was very hard for me to transition. That period was very tough for me. And it's because I didn't plan for it. Because ningekaa chini ni plan nijiambia okay, in the next 6 months then I want to transition from accounting to acting, so what do I need? Haya, industry jobs ni jua kali, si constant, so I need to save up a bit, probably nipate doya rent na something else for maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months yenye itanishikilia as natafuta jobs za industry. So that's one thing I didn't do, na ili ni mess up big time. So I'll tell someone kuwa na courage, and number 2, plan.
But what's the balance between you planning and doing all the analysis and also sort of being able/willing to take that leap? Because I feel like sometimes unajipata kwa situation una overanalyze vitu na realize ni mbaya hii kitu, ni mbaya, wacha nigoje another 3 months. Then you do another analysis, you realize if I take this leap vitu zinaenda wrong. So like what's that balance between like, you know, that planning, that analysis, and just, you know, going for it mbaya?
I think it goes back to Kenya nimesema ya courage, because when unasema it's a big leap and it's a big risk. So I would think just mtu ajipatie 2 timelines, you know, and have that courage, because now with timelines nikijiambia in the next 6 months natoka, na nikuwe na hiyo courage, then in 6 months ndaweza kutoka. But with bila hiyo courage, then after 6 months utajiambia okay, maybe I need a few more months, and then hizo a few more months they will turn into years, into decades, and you will never make that
unajua nilikuanga actor.
You know?
Iko ni kusemanga tu.
It also helps that you didn't have a family, to be honest, right?
Oh yes.
Like you hadn't started one.
Yes.
You hadn't started one.
Oh yes. If I had a family, then I don't think I'd be here today. Because you see, at that particular point in time, then ingekuwa focus yangu iko kuprovide ya familia, and probably hata ningejaribu kuingia ni realize ni kubaya, then nitoke immediately. Because with a family hapana huwezi.
Is that ledger book? Wacha nileta hiyo ledger tena.
Let's go back in.
Staki mambo ya script.
Okay, speaking of scripts, what is this next paying gig? And how do you transit through the theater season up till your next up till your first like TV gig ile tuko you're that guy from that show? Ni a couple of years. How do you dance around that from like the different companies
and even if you want to speak anything about these first 6 months where you literally uliano kambiwa Buddha, we're going to pay you for 50 per show.
450 ni mingi, my friend.
Hizo proposals za do bana. Unajua mtu alikuwa analipo anchwani. Ako anajua alikuwa you guys get paid. This story nyingine nitafanya. Tutamleta guest twende. But anyway,
how do you so as you go through the whole journey, if you don't mind, you could also speak about those first 6 months as well.
So those first 6 months zilikuwa za kulan, I would say that, because I did a couple of mistakes. Nilifanya blunders zingine kubwa sana. So it was the first time nilikoniwa actually kwa hizo 6 months nilikoniwa kwa industry, because I remember after kudisagree na Devi when it came to the producer of Planets, mambo ya contract, there was an opportunity that ili come up. So there were these guys walikuwa wana come up na an online TV station inajita TV yetu. A brilliant idea back then. I just wish wange actualize, because they were way ahead of time, because hiyo time mambo ya social media na nini iko imefika bado. So walikuwa na auditions, so walikuwa nasema it's a TV station, so they need everyone. They need what do you call this, wana need writers, wana need producers, wana need actors, news presenters, na kama unaweza fit kwa kadhaa then the better. So walikuwa na auditions. Walikuwa na charge 200, first red flag. Walikuwa na charge 200 kwenda hizo auditions. So nimesota at that time, but pesa hazijaisha kabisa, and to the little money that I had ya hiyo mwezi yenye nilikuwa nimelipwa, nilikuwa nimejaribu kuistretch kidogo, so haikuwa imeisha. And I think at that time ilikuwa probably, was it August, just after because tulikuwa tuna rehearse for third term from September, so I think ilikuwa August. So nikaenda nikalipa auditions, and then tukaambiwa tumequalify na tulikuwa wengi. So kwamba tumequalify, then nikajiambia okay, then hata Devi na hiyo pesa yake, then tunaweza achana vizuri sana, because nimepata another gig. So haya, tumechukuliwa. Then I remember wakatuambia we need kwenda Nakuru for 1 week for training so that now when we come back kila kitu inaanza. but cost ni 10k. So tuna split into half. So you as an actor mwenye umechukuliwa toa 5k, and then producer atatoa 5k, and then tutaenda Nakuru, will be trained, and then we'll come back and the station will start. So sikuwa na hiyo 5k sikuwa nayo. So I remember a very good friend of mine, one of the guys tulifanya naye that play that made me realize is what I want to do. Nikamapproach, nikamwambia, so there is this opportunity that I've been given, that nimepata, and I want to go for it. Naomba loan. And I remember that time nilikuwa nataka loan ya 15k, because I'd done my budget, nikarealize 15k will be enough kunisukuma for 1 month until payment ya hii gig yanze kuingia. And I remember akakubali nini na nikalipa hiyo 5k. As soon as tulilipa hiyo pesa, that's when the drama started, because hapo sasa ndio tukaanza kutekiwa round in circles, hii kitu haianzi. Again, niko na deni, kuna mtu nimemwambia nitamlipa after 1 month. At the end of the month I have to go back to him, nimwambie pole, hiyo pesa haikupatikana, hiyo gig ilitana out kwa ya uongo, pesa nishatumia. A lot of stories. So I remember that time it was now support from my siblings. Huyu ananisaidia hapa, huyu ananisaidia hapa, huyu ananisaidia hapa for that period of 6 months. Sasa naanza kutafuta gig nyingine kwa sababu hii imekataa. So I think in November ndio kukakuwa na auditions zingine za traveling theatre. And at that time everyone alikuwa anataka kufanya kazi na Jicho 4, because Jicho 4 walikuwa wanajulikana, they are well paying, wako na shows enough. So kukakuwa na auditions za Jicho 4, nikaenda nikapita again, and tukaanza tena rehearsals. So bado hakuna payment inaingia, bado at that time is support from siblings, because wazazi siwezi waambia, because the moment I tell them that singewaambia, because the moment I tell them wangeshindwa, okay, so si tunajua you are an accountant, uko na job inakulipa salary at the end of every month, what are you doing now going into something else? So I think until January 2009.
Yeah.
Yes, January 2009.
It's just hit me, we've been on stage with you.
Yes. Traveling. Yeah, traveling theatre.
Ndio inanihit niko, we did that January 2009.
Yes.
The River Between ndio ilikuwa imeintroduciwa tu.
The River Between na what else? What were the other books?
Of course nini ilikuwa Akina Gege, which one was that?
Kifo Kisimani.
Ndio inanihit.
Look at that.
Look at you were Kabonyi.
Yes.
Look at this.
Mimi
nilikuwa no, I haven't been on stage with Joe, have I? Sasa ndio inanihit. Yes, we were. Hey, okay.
Was Abu there?
Abu was the following term. The following term. Look at that.
You know, the one thing, the incredible thing about traveling theatre is that I think it's the grooming place for literally almost everyone who goes ahead.
A certain age, though.
A certain age.
Now it's not as big a
anymore.
thing. Now, probably traveling theatre for the new generation of actors, itakuwa social media. Like sketches and all.
Yeah, very true.
Who knows?
But everyone right now, like in our generation who came
And
up
the
to
one
be,
before us.
tulipitia hapo.
Kila mtu alipitia hapo.
Yeah.
That's happy chance. Proceed.
The 4 of us here tumepitia hapo.
Yes, we have. Hata Monique umepitia? Yeah.
You did traveling theatre. So the 5 of us here, that's Abu, Monique. Oh God.
You never know. Grace umepitia. At this rate, manze. Kila mtu. Exactly. Okay. So how long do you dance around theatre, and how is that? Because you are prolific at it. Like back to back ilikuwa for a while there. So how do you go around that from now leaving set books into sasa public shows?
So even before tuingie kwa public shows, yo December of 2008, I went for my first TV auditions. There was this show called Guy Center by Sisimka Productions. And I think nilikuwa na beginner's luck poa sana, because you see, the first auditions I went for theatre, that was Planets, nilipata role. The first auditions I went for TV, that's yo Guy Center, nilipata role, a supporting role. So January of 2009 was juggling between shoot here Guy Center and rehearsals. Uzuri, I think by mid-Feb tulikuwa tumemaliza the shoot. My role nilikuwa nimemaliza. So now nika concentrate na traveling theatre. So we traveled, came back, did a few shows in Nairobi. And then again, November of 2008 nilikuwa nimeenda auditions FCA, beginner's luck tena nikapata role. I mean nikachukuliwa, but what now they were doing is wanawachukua wengi, and then depending on the show they're doing, if they have a role that wanaona fit, then they will call you for it. But the producer had told us come for rehearsals so that when your time comes unajua what is expected of you. So every time tukiwa rehearsals ina allow, niko na time nilikuwa naenda jioni for hizo rehearsals za FCA. So in I think March or April of 2009 is when sasa nikapata opportunity ya kufanya show na FCA. And now that marked my exit from, because tulikuwa tumemaliza traveling theatre na tumefanya for that term, na tumefanya za Nairobi, and I remember walikuwa wanaanza kuprepare for the next term, and then I got a role kwa FCA, and that now marked my exit from traveling theatre now into public shows. And then now from that time, so FCA ilinisaidia nipate job ya Friends Ensemble, because the producers of Friends Ensemble walikuwa wamekuja kuwatch show, wakaniona, and then they needed someone, kuna role walikuwa wanatafuta mtu. So that's how they called me for it. FCA also helped me get into Phoenix. Hizo time nilikuwa naenda kutafuta auditions. I remember going to Phoenix, nikaenda nikajaza form, and sikuwa nimewaipigiwa simu. And then the director who alidirect hiyo show nilifanya kwanza FCA, at some point she was called to direct a show at Phoenix.
Is this Ellis?
No, this is Carol Odongo. Because Ellis was Friends Ensemble.
Yeah.
So Carol Odongo akapata hiyo opportunity, akaniita, so that's how I got into Phoenix. So now the next 3 years ndio sasa nilikuwa nafanya hizo play everywhere. And then I remember at that time beginner's luck yangu sijui ilienda wapi, because after that first TV series zenye nili audition for na nikapata, after hapo for the next 3 years sikupata role yoyote. And I remember going for auditions almost every weekend, and that's where I met akina Likarion Wenaina, akina Brian Monene, because tulikuwa najipata tunaenda auditions nao sana. So at that time that's when nilikuwa na juggle easy show zote, because theater, the only way you're going to be able to pay your bills is to do vitu mingi at the same time, because one show yenye unapewa 1,000 bob per show na mkona show 7 weekend, and you've rehearsed for a whole month, so that's 7,000 kukutoshea kwa mwezi. It's a bit tough, so you have to look for other things to do hapa na pale.
It's so weird you mention Likarion, because I have this particular memory of us tumeka ilikuwa cheche, by then haikuwa inajulikana as a space by itself, na tumeka hapo nje tunagojea auditions, and I always remember because you guys in the next couple of years really hit big, so it was you, Likarion, I don't remember who else, na tumekiti hapo tunangoja audition, tuko ama tukiulizwa si ufanya nini, we'll say si uenda kama auditions, unajua, and we thought it was really funny. Then the next couple of years kila mtu Likarion ame blow up, then soon enough Joe Kinyua niko way god bana usinipite. Unajua, because we used to joke with this guys. So that's pretty cool. Okay. And what are the lessons you're picking from, do you think now ukiangalia now in retrospect, from back 3 years of consistent theater, what do you pick from that season that hadi wa leo imekusustain to be as good as you are?
Number one, I think theater, and most I believe most actors when you're on a background ya theater, there's a certain level of discipline that lazima ukuwe nayo for you to survive kwa hiyo industry, kwa hiyo world. And I think that's one of the things yenye imenisaidia sana till today. I usually say talent is not enough, because kila mtu mwenye ako hapa akona talanta, but sasa what is it that now puts you apart from the rest? And for me it's discipline, na hiyo niliipata kwa hiyo akoka period, discipline, and I would also say consistency, because hii industry yetu, the moment you're out of the picture, the moment people forget you, the next time you're coming back it's like utaanza afresh tena. So those two things, consistency na discipline, hizo ndio, and I believe till to date hizo ndio zinani keep moving.
And consistency really requires you to be disciplined.
Kabisa.
I want to put a pin on a few things, because sometimes when we get into this space with like what we are theater, sometimes we have kuna audience who don't know anything about this world, at least the intricacies of it. So traveling theater, kuna sawaji traveling theater, but if you're listening and you don't know about anything about traveling theater, ni wala walikuja kukuletea set books ukiwa shule. If you ever had the privilege of watching any of those guys, a lot of that is what you're saying is the breeding ground for a lot of the talent, at least in our generation and the previous generations. All of us did that. So I think I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
Kwa wale wasi hawajui history tunaongea hivyo about. And yeah, it's interesting. I think it's a very interesting space, at least in my experience. It's what exposed me to a lot of things in this country. Nasema maze kuna places tulienda una realize kuna place kama hii Mtito wa Ndoa.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, kuna place naitwa Makindu uko like deep in Kitui where you go into that school and una realize shule ni ya madem and all of them are clean shaven. You guys
Of course.
Yeah, and then so it on one hand, as a young person coming out of like high school, it really exposed me to a lot of the cultural nuances and experiences in this country. Yeah.
Traveling theater.
Theater.
It could be bigger than what it is today, but conversation for another day.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to this. So, when is your first, let's say, big TV break? At what point umeingia tuseme space here sasa, this is picking momentum and picking up speed
for TV. So hii period ya 2-3 years going for auditions and trying to juggle everything pande ya theater just to be able to make a living. At some point I think nakumbuka nikienda, was it Lies That Bind? I think at some point nikaenda auditions za Lies That Bind, so hapo ndio vitu zikaanza. Lies That Bind, and I remember the other one is Briefcase Inc. Because I remember even this period that I'm doing theater, I'm still nimeitwa juzi ilikuwa supporting roles zenye nilipata, so nimeenda set, then from set I have to make sure nimewambia by this time lazima mkwe mmemalizana na mimi because niko na rehearsals. So that period ndio nilianza kuingia kwa TV pole pole, those two small roles. I remember at that time for me the biggest platform yenye nilipata at that time ilikuwa ni Changes. Kuna show ilikuwa inaitwa Changes, ilikuwa ilikuwa was that one of the channels at DSTV? I can't remember, and it was a big deal. Changes,
the one that had Akina Ian.
Ilikuwa na superstar. I remember being very intimidated on that set nikipata anawa say. So I would say that was the biggest platform nilipata at that time. But sasa ika period now ilianza kumark face yangu kwanza kuonekana kwa TV pole pole, and so hata nikienda hizi auditions you realize kuna mtu ameona this is a familiar face, and so pole pole now nikaanza kuingia kwa space, still doing theater lakini naanza kuingia kwa space ya TV pole pole. And I remember iliendelea on for a while until 2015 is when I did my first lead role. I had met akina Liz Njaga kwa set ya, again hizi two shows nafanya. Kuna show tulifanya inaitwa How to Find a Husband. It was about 3 ladies wenye wanajaribu kufind a husband. I was playing one of the boyfriends. Nilikuwa na play boyfriend ya Liz Njaga, so that's how we met. So at some point they wanted to do their own show, the News Just In, and wakani consider for a role, and in 2015 now is when I got my first lead role kwa TV, News Just In,
yeah, which had a hot cast, like hot in terms of talent.
Yeah.
And you may realize that one could be in terms of talent. Yes, otherwise sure, but in terms of talent.
Yes.
Tuambie your experience kiasi, teammates and all.
Again, intimidation kiasi, because these are people nimegrow nikiwatch. These are people wenye wameput their mark kwa industry, wamesettle vizuri kwa industry, and as much as nimeingia, I know a few things, I know a few people. The very first time kuwork na watu, kuna hiyo intimidation. Akina Sarah Hassan, these are people niligrow up nikiwatch kwa Tahidi High, but then wakam kurealize when you guys are there, ni kazi imewaleta pamoja. When professionalism is there, hakuna room ya this one is less than us. Sisi wote we are ni ensemble, we are a team, so tuna work pamoja. And hapo sasa ndio hata hizo connections sasa zilianza kutoka vizuri, and you see that now leading to me getting a role for News Just In, kwa sababu tumework na wase, tumework pamoja, tumerealize yes, hizo vitu zinatubring pamoja, talent, discipline, hizo vitu zote tunasema, because tukiona our superstars, we used to think that the stories we had that ukifika set watu watakuja late, all this diva mentality, but then I realize hakuna kitu kama hiyo, that these people, as much as they've been in the industry for the longest time, discipline bado wako nazo. Kama ni call time ya 7, they are there at 7 a.m. They come with their lines, they come wanajua character zao, and it makes it easy to work. So I think hizo ni examples poa nilikuwa napata za, it doesn't matter where you are, whether ndio kwanza unaanza ama you are up there kwa industry, kuna vitu lazima ukwe nazo na they will take you very far.
Put in the work.
You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work.
And there's something they always say, you're only as good as
your last show,
your last gig, which I don't know the truth about that, but it's definitely a common statement.
So every day, like you have to keep doing the work. Hata kama and that's what really keeps you there. Sometimes it's like, I feel like ni kama kupedal, sometimes you have to remain at the same spot. You have to keep going and going and going, and you're not really moving, but you have to keep pedaling.
Exactly.
You're back at the same spot.
Exactly.
True.
Soon enough, Suna Johnny comes.
Yes.
And this is like now the mega Joe is here. And this actually hiyo ensemble yote ya Suna Johnny ilikuwa like a huge entrance for all of you, because hata Mato was doing his thing, but then again Suna Johnny did the thing, ilikam push to a step higher. Same to Senjen was still doing the TV show Classmates,
yes.
But then Suna Johnny come elevate and Stella and the whole ensemble. So how does that come about, and what difference do you note? And also the money, because saizi mmengia. I've watched a couple of interviews za Abel za how the money came and how life was, na najua pesa ilikuwa mzuri. So how do you now elevate to the next step?
Na believe in God sana, na musema God orders my steps, na I think imenisaidia sana throughout my journey as an actor kwa industry. It was a very interesting, I don't know how to say it, because nakumbuka at that time I was doing a play. Hapo nilikuwa nafanya play ya Prevail. Hapo nilikuwa nafanya Who's Your Daddy.
Who's Your Daddy?
Yes, Who's Your Daddy too. It was at that time. So we are doing a play, and you see the way industry yetu iko, you are doing a gig. At the end of hii gig, saa zingine you have another gig that's waiting, ama umeanza rehearsals for another gig. But sometimes unamaliza gig and haujui where your next gig is going to come from. So hapo ndio nilikuwa your time. I remember we were doing Who's Your Daddy. Senjen walikuwa washachukuliwa for Suna. So what happened, walifanya pilot ya Suna Johnny like 2 years before ianze kushutiwa, and then it didn't go anywhere. At that time Senjen was playing Johnny Origi kwa pilot, Mato was playing Johnny Fake kwa pilot. At that time Senjen was a bit slim. So cut to 2 years later, show imekomishoniwa, wameita the original cast wa pilot, and then they realize
Senjen akamdosi
Senjen can't play, because walikuwa nataka Johnny wawili wakuwe na almost same physique, wanafanana kiasi.
Yeah, because the premise of the show is the second Johnny anakuwa, I don't want to say confused, anakuwa mistaken for the first Johnny.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was important that watu wakuwe na physics same. So wakarealize Senjen hawezi fanya hii role, wakampatia role ya the boss. So throughout this time wanafaa kuanza production, but kuna ka delay somewhere. Mi sijui nini ilikuwa inafanya kukuwe na delay. So tuko in talks na Senjen, because at that time is when we had talked about starting our own production company with him. So pia tulikuwa naongea about how to get the monies, because kila mtu kuna pesa nafaa kuleta. So I remember tuko na have conversation, aniambia at least amepata gig poa, nini venye wajaanza, ni akina Phil, finally people who are doing something good kwa industry, they are paying actors well, nini hizo vitu zote. Na sikuwa najuenda kwa part of it. So we finish just before tumalize Prevail. I remember I received a call from Phil a week to
closing the show.
Yes. Na hii ni production ilikuwa inafaa kuanza kushutiwa like 2 months before. Na wangeanza kuishoot 2 months before, singekuwa available, because at that time I think nilikuwa na gigs zingine before tufanye Who's Your Daddy, nilikuwa na gigs zingine, so nilikuwa nimeshikana. So if they'd started production 2 months before when walikuwa nafaa kuanza, singekuwa part of it. So hizo delays, finally I get that call, and I remember akiniuliza, one thing that helped is walikuwa wamenionaona.
Consistency.
I think nilikuwa nimefanya show ya KBC inaitwa Bold Conversations, and one of the producers alikuwa Dennis, na Dennis sasa alikuwa producer kwa Philip. Because remember even akiniambia venye nilipata hiyo role walikuwa wana struggle na kupata huyo mtu ata replace Senjen. So someone mentioned my name na mwenye Dennis mentioned my name na venye alini mention it helped that hiyo panel walikuwa wananijua. Abel had seen me somewhere, Phil had seen me somewhere, Kate had seen me somewhere, so that helped au ku make your decision Joe can play this role. So I got a call, tukaenda, akanipatia script, akaniambia I won't even audition you, I've seen your work, I know you can do this role, go read the script, if you're interested in doing this role, kuja tuonge mambo ya contract. So that's what I did. Nikaenda nikaisoma, what made me take that script is every time tukiona read through, even theater, whenever you find something funny kwa read through, then mujiambia isho yenye itakuwa funny. Because kama kwa read through munacheka and it's just you visualizing, then how about when everything is put together? So I read the script, nakumbuka niki laugh out loud na nikajiambia I'm taking this. So hivyo ndio niliingia kwa Suna Joni. Wakaniuza schedule yangu, I told them there's something I'm doing, play, but nikimaliza hii play then niko free. Wakaniambia perfect, and that's how I got the role. Yeah, kila kitu ikaingiana.
Look at that. Suna Joni na change storytelling.
Yes. You asked screen about the money bit. So what changed for me was the fact that finally I am getting a gig that inanipatia constant income. As in every month, because now initially tukianza ilikuwa per episode the payment, but at some point ikakuwa monthly, and you are sure that at the end of every month kuna salary inaingia as long as you're shooting. Of course hatukuwa na tulishoot for a period of 3 years, but miezi kadhaa tunaenda na shoot like 4 months, tuna shoot this seasons, another 4 months hivyo. So hizo 4 months, 5 months ama 6 months uko sure you have a salary coming. Which is also a bad thing kwa sababu coming from place haukuwa unapata hii pesa and then kuna do inaingia unajipata una misuse, which for me was a huge learning opportunity, kwa sababu mimi huambia watu ukweli, niliwaste hiyo pesa nayo niliwaste. By the time Suna Joni inakuja kuisha nilikuwa nimewaste hiyo pesa, but in a way ilinisaidia because and in between from Suna Joni the next gig I'm sure point to the next was Njoro, and in between Suna Joni and Njoro nilikuwa home for 9 months bila gig, sikupata gig yote for 9 months.
Wow.
So that period nilikuwa na time ya kureflect on the decisions I made. Na hiyo pesa
like a prodigal son moment. Yeah. Hapa nilijipata aje,
nilijimess vibaya, and so now getting this next project I was wiser when it comes to financial management.
What about in terms of you being looked at as different now? You're a star now, tunakuja from here. Does it hit you that it's now different? Sai niko on different saizi, like hata uwezi enda duka kubuy mandazi na slippers, unajua. Are there things changing around how society is reacting to you?
Definitely. Tukifanya theater, hizo public shows zote, once in a while yes you'd meet someone anakuambia I remember you from this show nini, but now TV is a whole new level, and especially now because nilikuwa nimefanya supporting kadhaa hapa na pale, but now Suna Joni sasa ilinipatia hiyo reaction from the audience that every time nikienda mahali watu wanakuuliza kwa wapi Su, kwa wapi nani, kazi fiti, and the recognition is more than venye nilikuwa nimezoea kwa theater. And of course that comes with expectations as well. Kama hiyo tunasema watu wana expect nisiende kwa duka kununua mkate na slippers, nisikue kwa matatu. Someone actually aliniambia hivyo. Kuna mtu alini inbox at some point, hiyo time nilikuwa naishi Kasa, alini inbox akaniambia niaje, nimekuona ukitembea kwa barabara, mbona hauna gari? So hizi expectations zilianza, but I think theater ilinifundisha kukuwa grounded, so mimi sikuwa na live up to hizo expectations audience. So me I would still walk, I would still use that mat. Kama nitaweza kutumia hiyo cab nitatumia, but kama siwezi I will take that mat vizuri sana. Yeah.
What about financially and managing that? What are the practical things you take into the Njoro Uber experience around sasa saving and management and knowing that this thing doesn't last forever? What are some of those practical things the next 9-10 months later, like 10 months in, ukiwa the first month of Njoro Uber, you're like, from this practically this is what I'll do going forward?
Yes, I think kwanza ilikuwa ni mental shift. Cause doing such a show unajiambia then that's it, then probably I don't need to go for auditions after this, kwa sababu sura yangu iko huko nje, watu wameona kazi yenye naweza fanya, so unajiambia after this kazi zitakam hivi. So now that ka period yenye sikuwa na kazi, then going into Njoro nilikuwa najua okay, I'm shooting for 4 months, because the format of Njoro is you shoot for 4 months, 52 episodes. That's enough for a year. We wait for the next year. If show may do well, then they'll renew the contract. So sasa nilikuwa nimejua, because even that's hiyo ndio ilikuwa format kwa Suna Joni, only that kila saa ilikuwa inarenewiwa, so unajiambia watarenew, watarenew. So now venye contract iliisha, nikaka home for 9 months, nikarealize okay,
contract uisha
si certain that utakuwa job, na hata hiyo contract ikiisha, si certain that utapata job zingine immediately, because I remember tukimaliza Suna Joni nilikuwa najiambia the money I have it's sayo nilirealize tunamaliza, nikajiekea tu kiasi, it was enough to last me for like 2-3 months. Nilikuwa najiambia 2-3 months ndakuwa nimepata gig ingine. My friend, shock on me. So going into Njoro nikajua contract tuisha, number 1. Number 2, si certain that since umekuwa ukionekana kwa TV, watu wanakujua, people know your work, that ati utapata job ingine immediately. Auditions utaenda na bado utakosa kupata hiyo gig, and haujui the next gig itakam when. So when you get that money, know that yes, saving is important, na pia investing is important, so that at some point the gig ikiisha, you're not eating into your savings, kwa sababu there's something you've invested in yenye inaweza kuletea pesa. Still, I wouldn't say the perfect investment imepatikana, because unasikia stories za watu, mtu ameka pesa hapa inapotea, mtu ameka pesa hapa inapotea. I mean, sisi tulieka yetu kwa theater ilipotea, ikurudi. So yeah, but knowing that you have to invest and you have to save, ndio ile time gig itaisha, usiguze savings zako. Savings guza sa zile kimeumana kabisa.
Last resort.
Last resort.
Yeah, okay. Kabla tuingie the Njoro experience, you've spoken of kuweka do kwa theater. At this point, I gather you're talking about you and Senjen starting the company
behind the stage, right?
Behind the scene productions.
Yeah. So behind the scene, I always hata ni Senjen juzi alikuwa no scene. Yeah, it's scene. Is it ni 9 months ndio mnafanya your first show?
No, not really. Ilikuwa hiyo time ya Suna Joni.
So ni your season ya Suna Joni. Okay.
And even going into it was a bit easier kwetu, because we knew tuko na source of income. So hata tukiinvest in theater, which I think watu wengi siukosea sana. We expect gigs to be there, we expect projects to be there, mashows ikue, yet tukipata pesa sisi kama wasanii, tunaipeleka industries ingine. It is okay to spread your whatever investments, usiweke everything in one basket. That is okay. But even as I have a kabuchari there, even as I have something else here, we also need to plow back, to bring this money back into the industry, because that's how to create easy jobs. Hatuwezi kuwa kila saa after gig naka 9 months home sina gig, yet nilikuwa na opportunity ya mimi mwenyewe ama someone else alikuwa na opportunity ya kucreate shows ingine, kuplow back pesa yake kwa industry. So it helped that tulikuwa tunafanya Suna Joni, because then tulikuwa na constant income inaingia. So tuliweza kuingia into it boldly. Loss tulienda kubwa sana but lessons learned pia, because one of the things we did, tulikuwa nataka kufanya kila kitu kivyetu, so that we save on expenses. So I remember it was a two-hander, so sisi ndio actors.
You're definitely an accountant.
Definitely.
Accountants are stingy.
Not really stingy. We want to account for everything. Na kama kuna place yote tunaweza save on even 1 shilling, we will save. So that's what we did. Mimi ni actor, yeye ni actor, yeye ni director, mimi ni stage manager. Sisi wote tuna produce. We only hired a production manager na msewa sound. Big mistake, because then tulikam kurealize baadaye, and this was kila kitu ili go wrong the last week of the show, because tunajiambia tuna rehearse, tuko sawa, then week ya production ndio tuna realize kuna a lot of things tuna need kufanya yenye tungekuwa tumehire people to do this, then sisi tunge concentrate on stage and the show peke yake. So tulilala a lot of things, tukajiambia when we do it again, then at least kuna vitu tutafanya differently.
Did you stage the show?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We did. Ilikuwa na response poa. kwa audience wenye walikuja wachache
tulikuwa hata mimi kwa audience
hapo sasa ulikuwa among the few wenye walikuja because show tano na Alliance iko na sitting capacity I think 200 and something 210 or thereabout. So that's show tano, that's like 1,000 people. Tulipata watu 70 ndio walikuja kuwatch show, so yeah, it was a huge loss, but we
the season as well,
and we moved forward. Yes,
do you remember when you staged it?
Oh yes, that's the other mistake we did. Big mistake, because ilikuwa weekend ya World Cup final. So sisi tunajiambia, we realized a bit late that finals itakuwa hiyo weekend, but tukajiambia instead of cancelling the show, si tutapatia watu wenye si wa ball
itakuwa na option.
Option, watu wakienda kuwatch ball, wewe kuja watch play. My friend, kumbe kila mtu yote time watch ball.
Even if someone has never watched football before, World Cup final ataona.
Mimi nikiwa mmoja wao, mimi si fan wa ball, but final ya World Cup, it's a must watch. Watch.
Look at that. Okay. Yeah. Then finally, for just now, for like this season of your life, kwa sababu clearly bado kuna projects zingine ziko mbele. So at this point, what you're most recognized for has to be Njoro wa Uber. So how do you get into that project? And tupatie hiyo shift sasa ya post journey. Again, something very, namuambia watu, kila job unafanya, you never know who's watching. Of course, usiifanye ukihope someone will watch and someone will give you a job because of that. We ifanye na roho yako yote, because again, hizo jobs nilikuwa nafanya. I had done a pilot for Lucy. Lucy is the producer wa Moonbeam Productions, wenye wanafanya Njoro wa Uber. I had done a pilot for her kitambo kidogo, haiku go through because of Suna Johnny. Tulikuwa tumemeet kwa one of those spaces zenye Maisha Magic walikuwa wanaleta watu wa productions zao pamoja, but hatukuwa tumepata opportunity ya kuwork vizuri na so I received a call from a guy called Joe. Hiyo two time, and then at that time niyo time nimekaa sina job, na tulikuwa nafanya nilikuwa nimepata job ya kufanya Macha Fest. Na Macha Fest, venye unajua hizo za festivals kwa you don't know if there's going to be money. You do it, mkishinda pesa then mtagawiwa kidogo, msiposhinda hiyo imeenda hivyo. So tulikuwa nafaa kushoot Monday and Tuesday the Macha Fest. On Saturday Joe calls me and ananiambia they have a pilot they are doing. Me at that time sikuwa nataka kusikia mambo ya pilot, because I've done enough pilots. Mingi ni zenye hazija go through, zingine ziki go through wali change cast, so sikuwa nataka mambo ya pilot. So I told Joe, and then at that time kulikuwa na story ya if you're doing one lead role kwa hii kipindi, then hawezi fanya lead role kwa kipindi ingine, same channel. So nikamwambia hizo vitu zote, akaniambia no, you come, let's do this pilot. Isipo go through tutaongea, tutajua venye tutasotiana na wewe, but you come, let's do it, tuone venye kutaenda. So I remember nilienda hiyo Sunday nikashoot pilot from 7 a.m. in the morning, tulikuwa tunamaliza I think at 2 a.m. Then Monday ndio mimi huyo naingia set ya Machawood, Monday, Tuesday, and that was that, na nikasahau hiyo mambo. Then Feb of 2019 nikaitwa for a small role ya Vashita. Nikaenda nikafanya huko, just as namaliza Lucy came akaniambia, I didn't even know you were here, nimetoka meeting, pilot imego through, wameapprove kila kitu, so we start shooting in April. So
wow,
where from April jua 4 months umeshikika. So that's how I got the job. Na okay, tukaanza April, tulianza May, kulikuwa na slight delays, but sasa tukaanza job May.
Then it so began.
That's where it all began.
What film is this for the Macha Award? Did it happen like wali forward at least?
Tulishoot na wakai forward, but it didn't, haikushinda anything.
Okay. I would have been curious kusema this was him right before. Right before. Aya, tuingie sasa this experience of Njoro. You do it for how many seasons?
Right now ukiangalia Showmax wanasema iko season 13, but we have done 16 seasons.
Bro, 16 seasons of how many episodes?
13 episodes per season.
Wow.
Going past 5 seasons is a big deal already. This is triple that, close to actually it's triple that plus. Yes. So how is this like, what are you, is it still format ya 4 months then break, 4 months then break? And na pia tunaona umetoka Nairobi mmeenda coast. How is this whole experience? I'm sure it's a real, but kindly tupeleke huko ndani, the whole experience with the directing team, all these people who are in your journey earlier on, the Licarians and all, now mnakutana in different capacities. Tuambie your story.
Njoro wa Uba imechange life yangu kabisa. It's one of those shows zenye as an actor I had always wanted kupata role kama hiyo. Finally it came na imekuwa everything I expected it to be. Imerusha face yangu out there. Stability ya financial at least imekuwa better than it was before. One thing nilikuwa na expect, but then again at least from Suna Joni nilikuwa nimelan kidogo, is you know the way people think that sasa gigs itakuwa zinakuja, hata mimi nilikuwa nafikiria hivyo, but at least from Suna Joni nililan si lazima ikuwe hivyo. And in fact when you're doing such a show, people assume that you're busy, that you're on set, because they're seeing fresh episodes every other day, so wana assume uko busy. So hiyo format yetu ya kushoot for 4 months, then niko na like 8 months nafaa kutafuta gigs zingine, but sipati hizo gigs because number one, people don't assume niko busy, and then kuna hii perception, mse ni more expensive. Well, naweza kuwa more expensive, but at least kazi nafanya, I will deliver. Yeah, but apart from that, one of the things napenda about Njoro wa Uba, and I think I give props to the writers for that, not even I give props to the writers for that, is the way they're able to capture real life stories, and the way, because what they normally do, apart from easy stories ingine, they normally have a session with cab drivers, and it can be as easy as let all these rides be fictional, because they're writers, wanaweza andika vitu fictional, but how chukua cab drivers wanakaa nao wanasikiza their stories, and I think that's why cab drivers relate to these stories kabisa. That's why most people wakiwatch watakuambia either alijiona ama aliona someone they know, because cab drivers wanakuaga wana meet every kind of people, au sikia every kind of story. Society yetu inakuaga represented hapo, as in every person kwa society ukuwa represented kwa cab, because hii ride itakuwa about this person Kenya na go through, and I think people ukuwa brave enough kushare kwa cabs, kwa sababu wanajua cab driver chances hawata meet tena, so wataongea, watafungua roho, hawatakuwa na any inhibitions about kitu wanasema. So
they are drivers / therapists.
Yes. Cab drivers na bartenders au ni watu by the way jionea mambo na uko ni kama ni therapist, so kweli. So that experience, I give props to the writers, wamefanya kazi poa sana, and meeting people kila siku wakikuambia unafanya kazi poa, and more to that wanaongeza, wanasema kuna story fulani mlifanya ili hapenia ama ili hapenia mtu mwingine, inanipatia hiyo motivation ya kumove forward, because art is a reflection of life. So the moment an actor unajipata, ama a producer, whoever, unajipata huko kwa space yenye unatell real stories zenye zina address issues zina affect watu kwa society, then for me as an actor na feel na live purpose yangu sai. And what you said about now meeting these people who I had worked with before, tumekam tuki-meet kwa hizi circles, and now we are working together. Siuka chini tuna look back with akina Brian Monene, we look back na tunajiambia, unakumbuka tukianza bidii tulikuwa nayo, did we know we'll get here? We wanted to get here, we didn't know journey itakuwaje, but here we are, lessons learned, a lot of years imepita, and si mwisho because kuna vitu mingi actually right now, kuna conversations tuna have now za things that we want to do now past Njoro wa Uba ama in between Njoro wa Uba.
Look at that, because everyone has gone through, like, see everyone of course, but every actor I know, Abu umekuwa Njoro wa Uba? Okay, besides Abu and I, kila mtu amedu episode ya nini bana, like kila mtu amedu, so maze mkienda forward nasema kuna maactors wako wa busy being born,
Mato
hata Kamande, hata Monique, by the way, here we go, sambamba, hata Grace basi sawa. But anyway, bless up, wacha tuongee kiasi tu as tunaenda ku wrap up juu hii experience bado. What's the most interesting when you ule mse wa Njoro wa Uba experience you've had?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've had experiences with karaos when they stop you. I'm guessing. But tuambie experiences mbili tatu, people reacting to you as the guy.
Hizo zimekuwa mingi. Za hiyo makarao, I remember there was a time tulikuwa tunaenda acha tuniseme, tulikuwa tunaenda somewhere na Senjen, Senjen usinipige ukisikia hiki kitu. Ilikuwa ni harusi yake, so as we were heading there tukastopishwa na makarao. sijui kama I think tulikuwa tume exit speed kidogo tukastopishwa na makarao au makarao akakuja iko harusi ilikuwa something to celebrate after harusi so tulikuwa tunaenda hivyo au makarao wakakuja wakatusimamisha wakakuja wakatuangalia.
Were you driving?
No, Senjen was driving.
Okay.
Akaangalia mwalimu ni wewe, so that's Senjen walimrecognize from classmates. And then wakaangalia hivi mwenye kwa driver akasema Njoro wa Uber, and that was it. Hawakutuitisha anything actually. Huo Karol sema tu ni kuwasimamisha tu ni check ya kawaida of course, lakini hatuwezi mind ka lunch kwa sababu mnaenda wapi, tukaambia kasherehe kidogo si hata sisi mtuachie yetu and that was it. Otherwise kama hatunge recognizewa then hapo tunge cough pesa kiasi.
That is mind blowing, like two worlds meeting, like hata mimi naangalia from the eyes of the audience ako in what world ule mse wa classmates na Njoro ako unajua worlds meeting. Anyway, another interesting experience, but this wasn't me being recognized. I think that may mention. So tuko kwa cab na Senjen, mimi niko nyuma. So Senjen kuingia, the cab driver kam mistake for Njoro wa Uber. Akaanza siwe ni Njoro wa Uber. Senjen akacheka because he knew niko nyuma. Akaanza kusema, akamwambia hapana. Cab driver hakuamini, alibelieve huyu ni Njoro wa Uber. So at some point Senjen akalight, mimi ndio nilikuwa naenda mbali zaidi. So venye Senjen alialight, the cab driver is like, ni Njoro wa Uber, si ndio? Ni kundanganya. And I was like, ni Njoro wa Uber. And from that moment, hiyo ride alikuwa ananipatia stories zenye yeye amepitia, zenye Njoro amepitia. And now having to listen to a real cab driver akiongea hizi vitu akisema venye ana relate, cause hizi ndio vitu upitia, ilinipatia satisfaction moja muenda sana, knowing that what we are doing is actually a reflection of what's happening in society. Yeah. It's meaningful, man.
It's meaningful, man. And keep doing it, keep pushing. We are huge fans. I wanted to come with I was telling this before we started recording. Nilikuwa kuja na youth man of mine, my oldest son, because him and I watch Njoro wa Uber nice. Intensely, and we enjoyed so much. Njoro wa Uber. He knows the jingle. Anajua ka jingle. And he dances the jingle.
That's what's up.
And he's only 3. Yeah, he just turned 4. So.
Let's see. To pull back, tulianza na Benedict Cumberbatch. In this whole journey, hata si lazima tuende ndani kabisa. When did that experience of making that film come? Was it pre-Suna Johnny? Was it closer to Njoro? Hiyo ndio hatuja fit kwa history yote. Ili happened ini?
As in?
The film that you did.
WikiLeaks. Hatujaiongelea. That happened in 2013.
Oh, that's all, yeah.
So this is
that is 2013.
a year or two kabla Suna Johnny.
Like 4 Suna Johnny was 2016. Oh, yes, okay. 3 years. 3 years, yeah.
So this is quite early in your career. Okay, that's what's up. Clearly, beginner's luck is a big deal for you.
It is. But then again, at least na hii kitu nimelan, I thought now with beginner's luck, then that's it. Then sasa nimeshaingia, then kila kitu ita move forward vizuri. Only to realize ni beginner's luck. Inakuanzisha, but after that, hizi zingine hazikuji that easy. You have to put in the work.
You have to put in the work.
Tuingie personal kidogo, alafu we go to the play kidogo.
Yeah, let's do that. You mentioned your mom and dad at some point, and so there are a lot of tangents that you could open there. But how's your relationship with them? Are they now at a place where like, this guy made the right decision?
Kabisa. Because at that time, growing up, I wouldn't say tulikuwa that tight, but then I think the more from now, high school, college, ni kama relationship ilienda ikitighten. So at this time, as much as hawako wananielewa vizuri and they want for it 100%, ndio walinipatia hiyo liwe ya kuendelea nayo. I think hiyo tu freedom ya mtoto wako, whatever na decide kufanya, just support them fully. But now I think they got sold kabisa now with those izo kwanza kuonekana kwa TV, anapata na jirani hapo anamwambia niliona kijana yako anafanya kazi poa. And then I think ile time pia nili travel with now the Fifth Estate, it was a big deal for me and it was a big deal for them as well, that kijana amepata kazi yenye imefanya a travel all the way to Belgium, na ni kwa sababu ya hii job yake kwa hii industry yenye it's unfamiliar to them but wanai-embrace pole. So I think hizo ndio vitu zilikuwa zinaenda zikistamp nini kabisa, wanaenda wakiwa sold until hii point sasa wako ndani kabisa. They're fully sold. They are fans of my show. I watch Njoro wa Uber religiously kila episode.
Do they come for plays?
Hizo play tulikuwa nafanya sikuwa na invite and you know why. Hizo fast one of the reasons mbona niliachaga kuzifanya, but now when we start producing again, I am sure sasa hiyo hata sitawapatia opportunity ya kusema ndio ama hapana. Nawaambia mnakuja siku gani, here are your seats, here are your tickets. And I'm sure they'll be there.
Okay, it's beautiful to hear your story. That relationship. Pia umemention about your belief in God. How do you feel about concept here? Because the more and more tunaendelea na where we are in life, kuna story ya splitting religion and spirituality and relationship yako iko aje? Intention yako iko aje? Are you a Sunday kind of guy? Do you go for mass often? How is that? Si lazima tuingie ndani sana, but mind space yako na spirituality
uko jumuiya.
Exactly, right?
Na CMA.
Unajua mse nini organizing sec kwa CMA?
Nilijitoa.
Awacha?
Long story. Long story.
So I wouldn't say I'm that staunch. And again, this is from my background ya nikiwa seminary. Because I think for me at that time, iyo kwenda mass daily, nilikam kujua, for me the essence ya relationship yangu na God. And it's not really about, for me what I believe is see about church, see about a lot of things, ni nariletaje na yeye, namuamini for what things, do I thank him, do I have faith that atanisort kwa issue zangu zote. And journey yangu ya acting amekuwa na mimi from day one to where I am right now. Some things happen and I'm like, ime happen kwa nini? Do I deserve kenye imeni hapenia? Naona hapana. But then ni masi zake na grace yake imefanya nikaweza kufika this far, nikaweza kupata zile vitu nimepata. So it's that personal relationship niko nayo na yeye. How often we talk na yeye. Mass nitaenda, saa zingine nitakosa kwenda mass, nitawatch
YouTube
online, kwa sababu ziko ka ICC wanakuwaga na every Sunday wako na service, so sometimes nitawatch hiyo. But the most important thing for me is kujua yeye ni nani kwa life yangu na relationship yenye niko nayo na yeye, and the fact that I may take through a lot na bado anaendelea kunitake through a lot.
Okay. Thanks man. Asante sana. Tunaingia kipindi cha lala salama. The first question ya hiyo kabla tuifanye ufala kidogo itakuwa just putting it out there. What projects are you more interested to do going forward? Ni gani unaziput out there tu kwa yo Benedict Cumberbatch hala your boy?
Sasa bado mini actor patimizo makazi. So theater, first love yangu ni theater. Napenda theater sana. TV, I think I got into TV because mostly bills. But now TV pia ilifanya nika fall in love na film. So moving forward naweza taka kufanya more of theater, more of film, and at some point hopefully TV series zenye maybe you're doing a season a year and then you wait, kwa sababu what my experience with TV series is, especially huku, hazikupatii enough time ya kufanya research, ya kuget kujua huu character, una have kumjua on the way. By now 16 seasons later, Njoro tuko na yeye, at least namjua na feeling. Sasa zingine hata nafanyanga vitu naambiwa huyo ni Njoro, huyo si wewe, because tumekuwa ni kama one person, nimemlearn vizuri, but it took time. So I think moving forward I would want to do more of film and more of theater.
That's what's up. All the best.
Santana.
All the best. What's the most recent decision you've made that rethink something you oftenly used to do? Sijui ama nimefrezia swali vizuri.
What have you recently changed your mind about? Especially around a decision.
Na inaweza kuwa super simple and silly ama super profound.
Niko nayo kweli. Tuendelea za think about it.
So lingine. Okay, tunaweza anza kuingia
the place ndio. Tuseme, are you a big reader?
Not really.
Okay.
I used to have that habit nikiwa high school, sijui ilienda wapi, ilisapia na ikadisapia.
Ni accounting inaribigia.
But what about indulging? Is there a thing you overly indulge in?
Could be movies, films, series, music.
Of late, I would say recently nimeanza kukaa chini kuwatch movies na series. Something I never used to do. Watu walikuwa nashindwa, how am I in this industry na sionangi movies, sionangi series.
Okay.
Music, yes. This is fan wa music sana, but my bro ni fan wa music na alifanya nikaanza kupenda music, especially R&B, hizo za 90s. Hizo nasikizanga sana.
Yeah. So what do you do in your free time?
Nowadays, movies, series, at least I will try watch a movie or a series. Nataka kuingia into voiceover sana, so najiambia I need to be watching animations, because animations nafiligi wana exploringi sauti vizuri sana. Yeah, so there is that. And whenever I can travel, napenda kutravel sana.
Okay. What's the most interesting place you've been to?
Most interesting place, I would say, and this is because of just the architecture of it, kuna restaurant inajita Alibaba Caves or something, iko Diani. Oh, that place is beautiful, and not in the kawaida conventional way, because ni cave, ilikuwa ni cave, I think wameiturn into a restaurant. So iko na hiyo feel ya, unaona venye coast hizo ma coral reef venye zinakuwa hizo mamawe hizo, that's just how it is. So wameipimp na lights nini, but inaka beautiful sana, inaka interesting. Na see, I think for me it's because the kawaida thing yenye tumezoea.
It's a dope plug. It's a really good plug.
It's also because like we've been conditioned to see beauty in a particular way. And so when you see something different, you're like, okay, beauty doesn't have to be necessarily just this.
Yes.
Kuna other ways that you realize, you open your eyes and you're like,
this is dope.
This is dope as well. Okay.
If you were to have dinner or at least conversations with a couple of people, tuseme hata for this case 2 or 3, dead or alive, who comes to mind? That would be such a cool conversation of a dinner.
Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Does it have to be to a huku local?
No, anyone.
Think
far and wide, beyond time space.
The first person, Denzel Washington. Oh my goodness. Nikawaipata opportunity ya kukaa na huo mse, just to pick his mind about journey yake kwa industry, choices zake za characters ye ucheza, process yake ya venye yufika tu, because yu niselia kila character yenye anacheza. So there is him locally, I would say Sauti Sol. I'm a fan of Sauti Sol. Mujiambia sijapata hiyo opportunity, but I think the next concert watakuwa nayo huku, I will definitely go watch it. I think one of the reasons naweza taka kuhave a conversation with them is because nafeel wameweza kuconquer industry yetu ya music in a way wengine hawajaweza, because wamejipackage as a business, and I think that's why wana excel hadi internationally. I remember at some point nikisikia interview yao Bien akisema the way kuna watu specifically ukuja job kuwork for Sauti Sol brand, and I think it's ni level tunafaa tufikishe industry yetu, because most of us don't look at the business aspect of it vizuri. We are just, sisi ni wasanii creatives, tuna roll nayo venye ina flow. We don't look at the business side vizuri, and I believe ameweza kutap into that vizuri sana.
Aikosi yaro ni mafanzo wa Njoro.
I hope so. Kama mna watchingi ni tena nikuja studio siku moja.
Hata video unaweza do.
Na vizuri tena sana.
Vixen.
Kabisa. Nimekuwa video vixen by the way, sijui mbona Sauti Sol bado.
No, you've been a vixen. Which music video?
I've done Barua ya Dunia by Elani.
Yes.
Star touch.
Mkosha mnataka kwa touch.
I really loved that jump by the way.
Hey, that's what's up.
Shout out to Elani.
Too many more. Yes, Sauti Sol come.
Yeah.
All the best, bro. All the best.
Man,
and our closer. Our closing question.
So if you had an opportunity kukua stage mahali, presenting or talking to the rest of Africa, the billions, but ukona everyone on stage, but we hauna chance ya kubonga, you only have something on your shirt that a message that would resonate across the continent, memorable one that keeps you going at that point in time. I need kuwa ni kitu eti it's a lifetime quote or a lifetime memory at that point in time or at this point in time. What would that message be?
Interesting umesema hivyo, because at some point nilikuwa najiambia ndaanza kuvaa t-shirts zenye custom made na just interesting messages. Na moja ilinibamba sana na nilisikia kutoka kwa msee ni hazimalizianangi nyasi. As in ngombe, and it's one of the things kwanza, especially industry yetu, watu wakisema historia same faces, watu wajuangi opportunities ni enough for everyone. You just need to tap into it, jitume, be consistent, work towards it na ita happen. So nilisikia mtu amesema hiyo kitu hazimalizianangi nyasi can hit. It's true. Ngombe hata zikuwe mingi aje hapa zina graze, hazitamaliziana. Kila ngombe itakula nyasi yake na itaenda back home ikiwa imeshiba, iko poa. So yeah, that would be the message. Opportunities ziko everywhere, and especially in Africa, opportunities ni mingi, ni sisi to tap into them.
Hey,
we can all eat and go home full.
There is space for everyone.
For everyone.
That's
Love
what's
it.
up. Asante sana, man. Hey,
Karibu, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, Maze, that has been the star of the moment, Maze. We've been honored to host Joe Kinyua, aka Peter, aka Mama Peter, aka Njoro, aka Johnny Origi, you know, and so many others. Hata umesema Denzel nikakumbuka, you led fences.
Oh yes,
you played fences.
I did.
Yo, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
there's been a local production of Fences.
there has been, man. Yeah. So this guy, all these roles he's given us consistently and with a lot of discipline and dedication, Maze. Si tuko honored kuwa nawe hapa, Maze. We celebrate you. Na tuko hapo kwa ma sidelines, tuko keep going, man. Keep going.
We're cheering
We
you
can't
on,
wait
man.
for the next gig and the
Yeah.
next, both from the producing side but also from the acting side, Maze. All the best.
Shukran sana.
Cinema fans.
Shukran sana.
Cinema fans.
Cinema fans. Wakuelo, yani, like even we're not even chochaing. Cinema fans mbaya.
Baada tunahitaji
sana.
kuwa na picha from back in the day, uni Njoro na mimi unacheki. Unajua Njoro. Ni mtu wangu, naweza mcall ucheki. Mcall uone. Bless up, man.
Nice.
Kamande.
No, man, that's it, man. We're really grateful, Njoro. Sorry.
Peter, sorry. Mama, sorry.
Joe, Mazi, thanks so much for making time. And like Mato said, we're here cheering you on, wishing you so much peace, so much greatness, because you have the potential to do it all. And we'll be here for it, man. We'll be here 10 years, 20 years down the line. QOG.
Shukran sana. Asanteni sana kwa kunihost. One of the things I think sasa nimeanza kuongelea ni about kudocument journey za watu. So ni space nataka kuingia sana. So asanteni sana kwa
This is what we're doing here. We are documenting the journeys of legends and learning from them along the way. Yeah, so and you're one of them. And we celebrate you so much, man. Yeah.
Stay busy being born. Gotea Senjen.
Nitamgotea.
Gotea pia wife.
Nitamgotea.
Si wa Senjen. Yeye unajua. Yeye ndio tumeingiza kwa story tukasema kienda wewe. Wako mgotee sana
bana. Barata yeye unaweza msalimia pia.
You know.
Nitamgotea.
Yeah. Bless up.
Bless up. Thank you so much for joining with us, to our audience. Asanteni sana kusikiliza and for watching. Shout out to everyone on the crew. Shout out to Abu, Monique, Grace. Love you very much and thank you for all that you do for us. Na nyinyi uko nyumbani, if you're listening to this at whatever point in time, thank you again for the support, and we hope that you've learned a thing or two.
For sure. Asanteni sana. Stay busy being born, and you know what we say.
If you're not busy being born,
then you're probably busy not living.
I am Kamande.
Kigondu.
Peace.
Hey.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. Do look out for more from us. For now, kwaheri.